Welcome to a video for 7th and 8th grade science. In this video we're going to be discussing arthropods. So an arthropod is basically an invertebrate. Okay, it has no spine. They're found all over the world. And more than 3/4 of all known organisms are arthropods. They live in land, air, and sea. They're as small as a copepod, which is a microscopic organism in the ocean. And they're as large as the giant crab, which can be up to 10 feet long. So something to keep in mind in this video is that I'm going to be highlighting certain terms and ideas from section 4, Arthropods, in chapter 2. For a complete understanding of this section, make sure and read the actual book, the literature. I'll cover about 75% of what's actually in the book. Okay? So use this as a supplement to your study of the text and the homework problems that I give you. All right, so there are three major characteristics that I want you to keep in mind when thinking about arthropods. Okay, so one is the segmented bodies. All arthropods have segmented bodies. Okay, they have a head, a thorax, the middle section, and then the abdomen. Okay. Secondly is the exoskeleton. And then thirdly are jointed appendages. So as I proceed in this video, keep in mind as you're looking at each insect, all the images that I have, identify in your own mind the jointed appendages, which are the legs that are jointed, and the different sections of each animal. Okay, so the jointed appendages could be in the legs. Okay, the joints, the mouth parts. So there are mouth parts that have different parts to them. Okay, and then antennae, a sensory organ. So in summary, here are the three major characteristics that help us to identify an arthropod. It's segmented bodies, the exoskeleton, and jointed appendages. So typically they have a bilateral symmetry. Not always, but typically. Okay, arthropods have open circulatory systems, so they're open to the external environment, such like the grasshopper, which we'll discuss at the end of the video. So our circulatory system, for example, the human circulatory system is closed off to the external environment with the exception of the intake of air in the lungs where the gas exchange occurs, okay? So exoskeleton is a rigid and tough material that grows and it sheds its outer layer. So as these animals grow and mature, they will outgrow that external shell and basically exit that shell and leave it behind. Okay, whereas the human kind of grows and the skin grows with it, with the human. And you do actually shed skin off, but not exactly the same way as an insect sheds off its exoskeleton. Okay? So molting occurs also. Okay, and that's actual the technical term for the organism leaving its shell. So what I'm going to show you here is a video of a tarantula preparing to molt. Okay, so there's the cephalothorax. Cephala meaning head and the thorax meaning combined, and then the abdomen. So remember, keep in mind the different sections of these animals and our jointed appendages, the 8 legs of a spider. Okay, so notice now the spider exiting its exoskeleton. If you have a pet tarantula, and if you have a pet tarantula, and you may have experienced this where you walk in and you look at your cage and you notice something that looks like another tarantula and you're wondering how you got a second tarantula in there. Well, it's not a second tarantula, it's actually its exoskeleton that it left behind. So sometimes people get confused and think that all of a sudden you have a second tarantula appear out of nowhere, not realizing that it's just the skin or the exoskeleton. All right, so molt meaning change. All right, let's move on now. So I have a tarantula versus a tarantula hawk video. See if we can enjoy. So this is a giant wasp going after a tarantula. Okay, so tarantulas are not at the top of the food chain. They do have predators. Take a wild guess who's going to win. Rather than me telling you, I'm going to let you find out on your own. Now notice what the tarantula hawk does, which itself is also an arthropod. Okay, it's also segmented. It has a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. He moves around so fast it's kind of hard to see. But his thorax is basically what his wings, the portion of the wings are covering. Now notice what it does here. Look at that. You see that? It turns around. It's crawling on its back. It's attempting to sting the tarantula by crawling on its back. It's a pretty strange behavior. So unlike the tarantula hawk, the tarantula has two segments. The cephalothorax, meaning the head and the thorax are jointed together, they're fused together, and then the abdomen, which you see pointed up. Okay? All right. All right, so now they're at it. Now they're actually attacking each other. And the bee is stinging, the wasp is stinging the tarantula, and at the same time, it's about to happen, the tarantula is actually going to get some bites in on the wasp itself. It won't be long. It's going to make his final move. Just a second. There he is. So they're both venomous arthropods, but clearly one of them is more venomous than the other, and we're going to find out. There we go. Now they're getting each other. Yeah, it just got real. Yeah, so you can see that the wasp clearly got bit also, so he's being affected. But the venom of the wasp was much more potent than the venom of the tarantula. So there you have it. You have the victor, which is the wasp. How many of you guessed that one, huh? So moving on. So there's another term that I want you to, a couple of terms that you need to add to your repertoire here. It's complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, metamorphosis also meaning to change. So we have 3 stages of incomplete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis has 4. So the 3 stages of incomplete metamorphosis are illustrated here by the process that a grasshopper goes through. It goes through the egg stage and then a nymph stage. The nymph is basically the small version of the adult. Okay, and then it grows into its adult version, grasshopper, and then it reproduces again. Okay. So the nymph resembles adult when emerging from the egg stage. Incomplete metamorphosis has 4 stages. Okay, we have the egg, just like the incomplete. You have the larva stage, and then you have a pupa stage. Each of these initial 3 stages, you have a non-functioning organism. It's still growing. And then after the pupa stage, you have a fully functional adult. Okay, so that's complete metamorphosis. All right, so we have 5 classes of arthropods that you need to know. Okay, the first one is crustacea, which is a fused head thorax, cephalothorax. Okay, so the tarantula falls into that category. I'm sorry, not the tarantula, the crab. Crustacea. You have arachnida. Okay, these are your spiders, 2 body regions, cephalothorax and abdomen. Okay, chilopoda. Okay, 1 pair of legs per body segment. So chilopoda is, you'll notice that its main region has many sections to it, and each one of those sections has a pair of legs. Okay. Diplopoda, each of these sections has 2 pairs of legs, and this is your millipedes. Okay. And the previous section, let me go back, that's your centipedes. Okay, so your millipedes have 2 pairs of legs per section. Okay, and these are an arthropod. And fifth, last but not least, the insecta, which has 3 regions, your head, thorax, and abdomen. Okay, so here are the 5 classes of arthropods. And then the grasshopper structure, you have tracheal tubes, spiracles, air sacs. These are the respiratory system of the grasshopper. These are just some of the terms and parts of the grasshopper that you're going to need to learn because we are going to dissect it. So we'll spend more time on that in class. And that does it for this. Arthropods, section 4. And again, this is only part of the information you need to know. To get a full idea and scope of what you need to know for your test in this class, please make sure to also read the text and the worksheets that I gave you in class. All right, good luck in your studying.